3 days. That's all that stood between Anna Carolina and death, or the greatest miracle of her life. And what the doctors saw on the morning of the fourth day left the entire team speechless. If you're going through a difficult time, if you've lost hope, or if you know someone who needs a miracle, this story will touch your heart in ways you never imagined. Stay until the end, because I'm going to reveal the exact prayer that Anna Carolina said, word for word, during those 3 days. And you'll understand why the number 3 was so important in this story. But first, let me tell you who Anna Carolina was. Anna Carolina was 34 years old, a history teacher at a public school, mother of 2 boys, Gabriel, 8 years old, and Pedro, only 5. She was one of those people everyone loves to have around, you know? Always smiling, always helping someone. She was part of her parish prayer group, sang in the choir. Her faith was always something she carried with pride. But this past March, everything changed. It started with fatigue, that kind of tiredness that just wouldn't go away, you know? She'd wake up tired, go to bed exhausted. Then came the body aches, the bruises that appeared without explanation. At first, she thought it was stress. Teacher, mother, homemaker, who doesn't get tired, right? But her husband, Roberto, insisted she see a doctor. And that's when their world collapsed. The first doctor ordered blood tests, then more tests, then a biopsy. And each result that came back was worse than the last. Acute myeloid leukemia, advanced stage. When she heard those words, Anna Carolina told me she felt like the ground had disappeared beneath her feet. The first thing that came to her mind were the boys, Gabriel and Pedro. How was she going to tell them? The oncologist was direct. We'll start chemotherapy immediately. But I need to be honest with you, Anna. The situation is serious, very serious. The following weeks were the hardest of her life. Her hair fell out. She lost 35 pounds. The boys would cry when they saw their mother like that. Roberto tried to be strong, but she could see when he'd go out to the hospital corridor to cry alone. 3 cycles of chemotherapy, 3 months of fighting. And after the 3rd cycle came the test everyone was waiting for. The result was devastating. The cancer hadn't regressed. On the contrary, it had advanced to the bone marrow. The doctor called Roberto for a private conversation. Anna Carolina found out later. Look, we'll keep trying, but you need to prepare yourselves. Make the most of every moment. Get your affairs in order. She had at most 3 months to live. There's a moment that Anna Carolina remembers to this day, and she said she'll never forget. It was a Tuesday morning, early hours. She was alone in the hospital room, everyone sleeping. And she looked out the window and saw the city below, all lit up, people living their lives. And she thought, God, I don't want to die. My children are still so young. She told me that night she hit rock bottom. You know when you lose hope? When even faith doesn't seem to be enough? She grabbed her phone and went looking for something that could give her strength. That's when she remembered a story her grandmother always told. Anna Carolina's grandmother, Doña Teresa, had passed away 5 years earlier. But she always used to say one phrase, "My child, when everything seems lost, you pray for 3 days straight. 3 days without stopping, to have faith. And then you place it in God's hands." It was at that moment that Anna Carolina made a decision. She would do exactly that. The next morning, Wednesday, Anna Carolina began. She explained to me that it wasn't just any prayer. She created a commitment with God, a covenant of faith. Day 1, Wednesday. She woke up at 6 a.m. Even before breakfast, she was already on her knees beside the hospital bed. And she began to pray. But it wasn't a memorized prayer. It was a conversation. My God, I know you know my pain. You know what's happening to my body. I could ask, why me? But I won't ask that. I just want to make you a request. Give me more time. More time with my children. more time to see them grow. She did this in the morning, at lunchtime, in the afternoon, at night before sleeping. 4 times that day, she stopped everything she was doing and talked to God. Roberto noticed something different about her. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I'm surrendering everything," she replied. Day 2, Thursday. On the second day, something began to change. Not in her body, but in her spirit. She woke up and felt a peace she hadn't felt in months, as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She continued praying. Same times, same faith, but now with less fear and more certainty. That afternoon, a nurse came into the room, Carla, who had been caring for her for weeks. And Carla said, "Anna, I don't know what you're doing, but there's something different about you. Your eyes look different." Ana Carolina just smiled. "I'm praying, Carla. Praying like I've never prayed in my life." The nurse held her hand and said, "Then I'm going to pray with you." And there in that hospital room, the two prayed together. Day 3, Friday. The third day was the most intense. Ana Carolina told me she woke up with a strange sensation. It wasn't pain. It was like her body was tingling, as if something was happening inside. She looked at Roberto and said, "Honey, I think something is changing." Roberto, trying not to raise hopes, just hugged her. That day, Ana Carolina didn't pray 4 times. She prayed all day long. Every thought was a prayer. Every breath was a thanksgiving. At night, before sleeping, she made the last prayer of those 3 days. "My God, I've done my part. Now I completely surrender into your hands. If it's your will that I stay, I will stay, and I will dedicate my life to witnessing this miracle. If it's your will that I go, I trust that you will take care of my children. Your will be done." And she slept. Slept like she hadn't slept in months. Saturday morning, the 4th day. Around 7 a.m., Dr. Henrique entered the room with an expression Roberto had never seen. He was holding a clipboard with test results. "Ana Carolina, I need to talk to you." Roberto's heart raced. Was this the end? Had it gotten worse? The doctor sat on the edge of the bed, and he had tears in his eyes. "Ana, I've been a doctor for 23 years. I've seen a lot, but I've never seen this." He showed the test results. "We did a routine control blood count yesterday afternoon, and when the result came in this morning, I thought there had been a lab error. I had them repeat the test urgently. I just received the second result." Ana Carolina held Roberto's hand. "The cancer cells, they just disappeared. They're no longer there. Your bone marrow is producing healthy cells. The tumor markers that were sky high 3 days ago are normal, completely normal. Silence in the room. I can't explain this medically," continued Dr. Henrique. "It doesn't make sense. This isn't how it works. But I'm seeing it here on the papers. You're cured." Ana Carolina started crying. Roberto fell to his knees. The doctor, a man of science, simply shook his head. "I don't know what you believe in," he said, "but something greater than medicine happened here." In the following days, the entire hospital staff learned about the case. They did more tests, called specialists from other hospitals. Everyone came to the same conclusion: unexplainable. One of the doctors, who called himself an atheist, commented to Dr. Henrique, "Either all our diagnoses were wrong, or I don't even know how to finish that sentence." Ana Carolina was discharged a week later, without needing any more treatment, just monitoring. When she got home, Gabriel and Pedro ran to hug her, and she stayed there, on the living room floor, hugging her 2 sons, crying and giving thanks. You must be wondering, was it really a miracle? How do we know? Look, I'll be honest with you. There will always be skeptics. There will always be people who will say it was a misdiagnosis, that it was coincidence, that it was anything else. But I want to ask you a question. What if it was a miracle? What if there really is a higher power that answers our prayers when we least expect it? Anna Carolina today, 6 months later, is completely healthy. She's back to teaching, back to singing in the choir. Her hair has grown back. She told me she's never been the same person. I died in that hospital, she said, and I was reborn. Not just physically, I was reborn spiritually. Today I live each day as a gift. Every hug from my children is a miracle. And you know what's most beautiful? Her story inspired other people. Nurse Carla, who prayed with her, told me that now she prays for patients every day. Dr. Enrique said he's never seen medicine the same way again. And you, watching this now, maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe you need to hear this today. Maybe you or someone you love needs a miracle. The message isn't that prayer replaces medical treatment. Anna Carolina did the chemotherapy. She followed all the guidelines, but she also had faith. And sometimes, faith moves mountains that science says are impossible to move. Now, as I promised at the beginning of the video, I'm going to share with you the prayer that Anna Carolina said during those 3 days. She authorized me to share this, and she said, "If this helps one person, everything I went through was worth it." So, grab a paper, write it down, or simply engrave this in your heart. Lord, I come before you not with memorized words, but with an open heart. I know that you know my pains, my fears, my dreams. I don't come asking to understand your ways because they are greater than mine. I come asking for strength, faith, and a miracle, if it's your will. I place in your hands what I cannot control, and I trust that you have a purpose, even when I cannot see it. Your will be done in my life. In Jesus' name, amen. Pray this for 3 days straight, in the morning, afternoon, at night, as many times as your heart tells you. It's not about repeating words. It's about having a real conversation with God. And remember, the miracle may not come the way you expect, but it comes. At the right time, in the right way. If this story touched your heart, if you believe in miracles, if you need a miracle right now, I want to ask you something. Subscribe to this channel, because every week I bring real stories of faith, of miracles, of people who didn't give up when everything seemed lost. And leave here in the comments the phrase, "I believe in miracles." Seriously, write that. Because when you declare your faith, when you put that energy out there, something changes. And I'll be here reading every comment, praying for every person who needs it. And if you know someone who needs to hear this story, share this video. You might be God's instrument to bring hope to someone today. Anna Carolina ended our conversation with a phrase I'll never forget. I was given up. The doctors had given me 3 months, but God gave me a new life. And if He did it for me, He can do it for anyone. May this story strengthen your faith. May it remind you that miracles exist, and that it's never, never too late to have hope. A hug, and see you in the next video. And remember, 3 days. 3 days of faith can change everything. God bless you.